Leo, welcome to a new feature of mine. I am going to be doing general tarot readings twice a month and keeping the love readings. They will be separate, so if you're not interested in love, obviously you don't have to watch those. And I'm going to be doing periodic astrology readings, just pure astrology, looking at the transits, maybe twice a month, maybe only once a month. Since I'm doing, these twice a month, these general readings, might be a bit much, so we'll see what happens. This period covers the 1st through the 16th of October. On the 16th, there's going to be a full moon, and for you, this is in your 9th house. And the full moon, by the way, is in Aries. And the 9th house deals with publishing and higher education, and what else? Foreign travel. It also deals with religion or your life philosophy. So for some of you, you may have some kind of an aha moment of what it is, that you believe about life, and it kind of is a way to propel you into a whole new way of being, because sometimes the full moons can bring revelations. There could be an ending, sometimes it can bring endings or something to fruition, which is kind of a blossoming, you could say, but there could be something around higher education, like maybe you're graduating from a course, maybe you have realized what you want to study, maybe you're studying something completely different, and you realize that that's not the path that you want to go on, and that connects to philosophy as well. Or, if you had, let's say you had some kind of a teaching assignment, maybe that's coming to an end, especially if it's a foreign variety. Maybe you're finishing a trip. There's all kinds of possibilities. So let's just go ahead, see what's happening. By the way, this is kind of awkward because I'm standing up. I'm waiting for a new tripod, and in order to get my camera to just hold up, I have to do this. Although the irony is some of the angles are better than what I usually have, so maybe I should stand up more often. I'm going to pick a clarification card, maybe the bottom of the deck. It's this card, Queen of Pentacles, because when I get like the 8 or 9 of Swords as the last card, that's not really kind of how I like to end it, because it's not that type of, it's almost like a state of mind, and it's not a nice state of mind. So that gives me a clarification card, so I don't just say something I don't know, from a limited perspective, because that's kind of a card of limitations. It's so funny, just like the last reading I did, this almost seems more like a relationship situation. So pardon me for any redundancies in terms of giving another love reading, but sometimes certain features are more prominent in our lives, like sometimes the love angle or the relationship angle. I do feel that some people are, alone, Leos. And it feels weird to pick this card for Leo. I think because Leo the Hermit, that was, by the way. And I think Leo is a sign that is really quite extroverted, and you think of the sun, people tend to, that's your ruler, is the sun, people tend to gravitate around you, and so you tend to be the center of people's universe, and as a result, you're not really a loner type of a person, even when you are having a difficult time of it. And this is just due to your larger-than-life personality. Oh, and you know what I think too is that you crave attention. A lot of you. By the way, I'm saying these things. I'm perfectly aware that I'm generalizing, and that the chart is much more intricate than that, and that not every Leo is going to be extroverted and all that stuff. I know it's kind of like a overgeneralization, but these are the qualities that are associated with Leo. That is a great segue into saying this is a general reading, and if you want a private reading, that is where I look at your natal chart, and there's a link to my website below this video, because I get different clients, and some of them are fire signs, but they have maybe a lot of Virgo or what have you, and they're a lot more introverted than the typical one. So I totally get that. Now, but since I'm doing this as a general reading, I have to kind of be broad in my characterizations here. So you're doing that because in the past this does have to do with some intimate situation. And, this could be connected to anybody that you may have been involved with who's a Gemini specifically. But the Lover's card could be about a choice. Maybe you had to make a choice. Maybe you were involved in some kind of situation. I don't see cards that maybe support that. Maybe this one, though, that have to do with another, like a third party. But that doesn't mean that wasn't what was happening. Maybe you had to make a choice between two people, or somebody made a choice about you, and now you're alone. In thinking of this, of whether or not this is a positive situation overall, we get the Page of Pentacles as the current or the near future kind of energy. Remember that this is just for a short period of time. This is not a very long look at your life. So this may be something that you've already been dealing with. But the Page of Pentacles can indicate that maybe you have been alone for a while. This, the Hermit may be something that you've been dealing with for a while now. Maybe it's not just in the last couple of weeks. And you may hear a word. You may have some communications that are to your liking. Sometimes, now, let's look at this from a business sense. You could be, have been kind of isolating yourself. Maybe you made a choice that you regretted, and that caused you to isolate. Maybe you gave somebody an ultimatum, and they ended up calling your bluff, and now you're alone. But I think you're going to hear something positive in the near future, and maybe even at the time that you're watching this in early October, that deals with your career, because the Pentacles deal with practical material matters, including money and job, career. Okay, so what I'm trying to get at is maybe you were in some kind of situation with another person career-wise, and you parted ways, and you hear something, and just thinking about the transits that are occurring, yep, you've got Libra in the third house, Jupiter there, the Sun there for the first few weeks, and this is covering this period of time that I'm talking to you about this, and you did have Venus there as well in the recent past, which tends to be a monetary gain sometimes, but definitely a harmonious influence. But this is a nice angle to you, the third house, and it's about communication. So it goes along with the page. And so you may hear something with Jupiter in the third house that, is expansive, that is a financial gain for you. So that would be a good, but even in terms of romance, and it could be with an earth sign, could be with a Taurus, or a Virgo, or a Capricorn individual. What crosses you, and this is all buried, pardon me, this is going to be a little weird this month with all this, or just in the near future with all this cards that I'm the Eight of Cups is the challenge of the challenging card. Now, I read it as whatever is the more negative connotation. I read that as the challenge, and for you, that's the reversed position. And this is like refusing to move on. So, if you were in some situation that may have been even a little bit traumatic, or with someone. That has to do with either a partnership, a love situation, and it didn't work out, you may still be kind of stuck in the past and unable to kind of move forward, even though you have movement with possible communication happening for you. And also the Page of Pentacles, by the way, could be some kind of a small windfall. A loan goes through some kind of a small, some kind of a lump sum of money. Maybe not the biggest thing, like a Ten of Pentacles, but something to give you a little bit of money. It could have to do with school loan, school financing. But for those who have had a relationship issue that kind of went along the lines that I described above, you may have a hard time moving on. And definitely if somebody contacts you, I would, even if you don't feel like it, I would just kind of, I'm not saying jump into another relationship, not by a long shot. I do like the Hermit card in that sense, because there is this reflection that can go on sometimes. But, the Eight of Cups kind of reminds me of how Leo is a fixed sign, and sometimes fixed signs get into ruts, even if they were in a negative situation. It's hard for them to kind of reboot because they hold on to whatever it is. They are the builders, they are the people who persist in life. They're not just like an Aries person where they come in with these great ideas and they come in with an initial burst of energy. They are the builders. They they're in it for the long haul in whatever it is that they undertake. So Leos, that's why you get a reputation for being loyal. You're not going to jump from here to there. But sometimes it can be taken to the extreme, and you can kind of get too hung up on the past, and that's not good either. So, having balance in that is important. The advice is the Five of Wands. So there may be something, and this could be, it's funny because I said something like, and this was nothing to do with the cards themselves. It's just a thought that popped into my head. And I was reading something about how to read the tarot, and they said, do not discount what pops into your head, because even though it may not directly connect with a card, it can be very intuitive. And so if you have been dealing with something, maybe a breakup, or on the work front, some sort of breakup, it may have been traumatic for you. And this card is about going back in the fray. And as I say, you may be kind of gun shy about it, and you may be kind of holding back, and really you need to just kind of progress. And maybe you're getting these opportunities to move on, but you're still stuck in the past. So the Five of Wands is about competition, but it's something where you're just asserting yourself. And this is natural for you. The Wands relate to the fire signs, and this is something that you're capable of doing. But even Leos, if they have some sort of setback, can, like anybody else, start to question themselves. And so it's just like, I think the momentum of just getting back and showing what you have will kind of propel you through. Now, in terms of romance, this would just be getting back on the dating scene and not being affected too adversely from whatever may have happened to you. And I did pick as the outcome the Eight of Swords, which is all about having self-limiting beliefs. So you can understand why I did not want to keep that as the only card, because that doesn't really make sense as an outcome. It's more, I think it's more of a warning that if you do not move on, that you will have that. And what's keeping you from moving on is probably self-limiting beliefs. Now, these are not necessarily things that have anything to do with your reality. They may have been imposed upon you by parents, other people that you associate with, and starting from when you're very young, and you absorb them like a sponge, and they become second nature to you, especially if you're a little bit off the beaten path and people don't understand you very well. That can be particularly difficult because you can start to think, yeah, they must be right, because you can see that you're different. And so sometimes this, I really do think it's in terms of confidence. And Leo is always seen as being very confident, and I think that that's correct. But there is like, sometimes the shadow aspect is the need to prove yourself. And this can, I think that if you are able to really see yourself beyond your accomplishments, then that will dissipate more. So whether you're talking about love or business, you know, the need to kind of brag about what you've done, or those are kind of insecure, signs of insecurity. So if you're dating, you know, not to try to prove that you're really a successful person, that you can just be in that quintessential. What I see with Leo is that just like that innate sense of dignity, you know, and that's just, you know, and it's funny too, because the other card I picked was the Queen of Pentacles. And this is kind of like whether you're male or female Leo, royalty I associate with Leo. So this is a person who, she's very independently wealthy. And so she has no need to even, you know, she doesn't have to go into the fray, which is kind of like what this card is about, in terms of like dog eat dog, you know, mentality, because she has she's self-sustaining. So I see like the solitary energy, since I got the Hermit as well, where you maybe you do need to still spend time alone if you've been recently in a breaking up from a relationship, or from, you know, leaving a job. Maybe you need that downtime in order to digest what happened. But while you're doing that, make sure that you are examining your attitudes, like what you think is true about your reality, and look into law of attraction material, look into ways to see yourself as infinitely powerful, which you do tend to do. You tend to be extremely positive. It would have to be something that really knocked you off, that made you question yourself, but also to kind of circulate. Maybe you've been kind of keeping to yourself too much, and there's something brewing, you know, you're getting contacted about something, and you just need to regain your confidence and go out and go for it. But I definitely see that you probably have a financial security at the moment where you don't need to worry. So you don't have to jump at the first thing that comes along. It's just a question of maybe reflecting on what has occurred and why it happened. So I don't know how many people are going to resonate with this, Leo, but if you do, I'm glad, and good luck to you either way. Take care, you guys. Bye.